brilliant. Chris, obviously, international break done and dusted now. First of all, is everybody that's been away on international duty back safe and well? Has there been any concerns about possible track and trace coronavirus implications like there's been with some other clubs?
Well, another loaded question by you, Rich. Both of the things are relevant. Yeah, we have got a couple of injury issues with boys coming back from international duty, and obviously we've got a potential issue with one of our players. I can't confirm or deny that he'll be available for the weekend. We're still working away with the authorities.
As a Premier League manager, there's obviously concern. Is there anything you feel that you can do to mitigate this, or is it one of those situations when players go away and you've just got to trust the authorities that they're with?
Yeah, just got to roll with it. I'm a huge backer of players going away on international duty. It makes them better, in my opinion. The players that they're up against, I know how proud they are to go away and play as well. There's not one of our players that doesn't really want to go and represent the country. It's a great experience for them. And as I said, from a footballing point of view, playing in different systems against different players can only be beneficial to making them better players. And the obvious down is from an injury point of view, and obviously from a work point of view as well. The majority of them were back on Thursday, so in today, and obviously not a great amount of time to prepare for obviously a big game for us as a football club on Sunday afternoon.
Aaron Ramsdale's obviously a player you think highly of, given the outlay that the club made for him in the summer. He was impressive for the under-21s during this international break. How pleased were you to see his performances in those games?
Yeah, his performances so far have been pretty good. He's not made any mistakes individually. So obviously from the goals going in, there's more to that than just Aaron and his situation and what how he's played in the game so far. I've got to say I feel a little bit sorry for him because the goals that I've got in, really looking back individually, you can't really do anything about him. He's made some key saves in those games as well. So as always, from the goals that we have conceded, quite a few of them have been individual errors. I thought that the two goals against Arsenal that Arsenal scored, I think you can look at them from our point of view, and could we have done a little bit better on certain aspects of it? Yes, but then you're in the Premier League and Arsenal move it quickly around the top of the pitch and around the edge of the box in the way that they did for the first goal. I think if we'd have scored that, we'd have been saying that's outstanding play from us. And if we'd have scored the second goal, we'd have said that's a great finish from Pepe. That's what we're in the Premier League. You have to really cut down the individual errors that have hurt us, that I've talked about at length so far this season. But sometimes when teams open you up in the manner that Arsenal did, is at times little that you can do about it. So no real blame on Aaron. He'll be taking it personally because that's how he is as a player. But it's early in his second stint at the football club, and nothing really changes from my opinion on him as a boy and as a player.
You touched upon it there that this is a big game this weekend. Is that how you put it to the players, or do you say, hang on guys, this is a real opportunity for us here as well to get the season up and running?
They understand that, Rich. They understand every game's an opportunity, which it has been so far this season. Every game that we've played is an opportunity to pick up points, and unfortunately we haven't. So I think one of the things that you do look at is when you are with the players and in amongst them is what their attitude's like, what's their body language like, and it's been super positive as far as I'm concerned. They're looking forward to the next game. It's always a positive environment at the training ground, and what we try and create, it has to be for what we've done over the few seasons. But this downtime, and we're not, as I said, we're not jumping through hoops at the moment. We're not thinking everything's great and brilliant. We're down in a position where we don't want to be, and we're the only ones that really can adjust that and change that. But the attitude of the players that have been in here, obviously, as we just talked about, I've got 7 or 8 players that have been away on international duty. So, but they're all right. They're really positive as well. So they'll come back into the group today, and we'll have a couple of good days training, and hopefully prepare well for every game, important game in the Premier League, an opportunity to get a result, and that's how we're looking at it.
Just before the other guys jump in, can I ask you about Gary Neville's comments in the last 24 hours concerning the governance of the game? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with him, or do you think that maybe it's not completely accurate?
I've got a great amount of respect for Gary. He's very, very intelligent. He's very passionate about the game. His upbringing at Manchester United, what he's achieved. What he's achieved on the pitch as a coach, the decisions that he made, coaching for the national side, going abroad, being an owner of the football club, everything that he's been involved in, that shows to me he's a passionate supporter of our game. All I would say is that it's our first season in the Premier League. I think we have been very, very envious of clubs that have been involved in the Premier League for a long time. It's our first year in. We'd like to continue to be involved in the Premier League, so we need to get a few better results to make that happen. But the governance of the league, the highest league in our country, from my point of view, looking from a distance over the years, has been exemplary and very, very impressive. I always think that there's always opportunities to improve it. Of course there are, and the Premier League in the period that it's been in existence has improved and has grown to be the biggest league in the world. But I understand from where Gary's coming from that there's always an opportunity to improve, whether it's from an outside view or it's internally. And I do believe there's enough intelligent people that's involved in this game that can certainly carry out that and keep moving the game forward.
I was going to say, you've managed across all the divisions. One of his arguments is that football in its entirety as a whole has shown an inability to distribute the wealth fairly.
This is a unique country in terms of from the football point of view, from the period point of view, from 92 clubs, from countless non-league clubs. It's unique. Nobody wants to affect that. Everybody's hugely disappointed when teams go out of the division or go out of business because of the financial aspect of it. I've always said, huge responsibility by those people that own football clubs, because the custodians, they're not owners, they're custodians. They have to look after it. Just a little story from along the way. I know you like my little stories, Rich. I was in Manchester the other day having an annual health checkup, regarding the ticker and stuff like that, because obviously it's going a little bit quicker at the moment than it's usually gone. And speaking to a guy who was performing sort of the tests, and what team do you support? Is it City? Is it United? Well, no, it's Macclesfield Town. And I thought that sort of hits home. He's living in Manchester, but he supports Macclesfield Town, and that is the unique aspect of our game that we have to cherish and we have to look after. And of course, nobody wants to see teams going out of business. And even Robbie Savage has got involved in Macclesfield now, and Rob's a friend of mine. So you see like sort of players of his calibre and character getting involved at the lowest levels. Gary Neville, as you just said, involved in Salford City. So there's a huge responsibility on everybody in the game to protect the game and protect the unique aspect of it. It's not another country. It's not B teams. It's not 14 teams in a division. It's not no relegation and no promotion. It is what it is. Is there an opportunity to improve it? Yeah, of course. But, we have to look and preserve what we've produced and created, over 100 years. And Bury going out the division was an absolute scandal, going out the football pyramid. And there's got to be obviously part of that as a responsibility has got to be regarding the owner at the time, but as well, I think everybody has to take a responsibility and making sure that doesn't happen. And obviously the sort of early indications from the Premier League and everybody involved in the football pyramid, is very aware that clubs can't go out of business and are protected. And I'm a huge backer of that, obviously. And I'm sure that when you were coming on and you were talking about stuff like that, I think you'd have known my view and my stance on this from the off. And while we're all in the game to win games of football and protect our own football clubs, it's surely got to be a responsibility from everybody in the game. And the biggest ones for me are the supporters. Everybody talks about the administrators and players and people that are involved in football and the owners. Owners come and go. Players come in, retire. Administrators are there, but the supporters are the foundation of our game. So we have to listen to what their view is. And even at the highest level, you talk about the supporters. They I'm sure understand the game as well at the highest level and talk about, even though obviously their love is their club, but their love as well as a traditionalist, as a football man, as I am, is the future of the game, and now we need to look after it, and I'm sure there's enough good people in the game that will do that.
Absolutely. Ticker's all right, is it, Chris? The ticker's all right?
I haven't got the results yet, mate. I've not got the results yet, though, so... Hey,
fingers crossed. Cheers, Chris.
It's not going to calm down. It's not going to calm down in the lead up to the game Sunday. I know that.
Well, fingers crossed, mate. Have a good one this weekend.
Cheers, Rich.
Hi, Chris. Morning. It's Andy from Radio Sheffield here.
Morning, Andy.
Morning. You're right.
Yeah, not bad.
Just to kind of follow on from what Rich was talking about there, we have seen in football that there is an awful lot of self-interest. Liverpool and Man United had their agendas, and clubs right throughout the division will want to look after themselves. How do you get 92 people to all agree to be on the same page?
Oh, incredible, difficult task, isn't it? But we have to look at all aspects and all angles of the game, but I've not got the answers, and of course, you will look from an individual point of view what your club is, but I'm from my point of view in terms of what's gone off. The timing of it really is for me is poor. Is poor. Loads of sympathy and empathy for clubs that are really struggling without the supporters, because, as I've said all along, they're the lifeblood of the game. They're the one that keeps the game ticking over in every aspect of it. The majority of the lower league clubs are supporters led. Supporters work at the football clubs, in the ticket office, in the club shop, in the media department. They've all got a connection to their individual clubs, as I said. So to protect the game is huge. And I think even at the highest level, and I know you've just mentioned that the two clubs there, I think it was quite relevant and interesting as well that their attitude, the supporters' attitude of the two clubs that you've mentioned, their attitude to the new proposal, to the power grab that has been talked about, were quite interesting. And I think I think as a football manager, you obviously, there's a lot of things that tick over you in your head, and you're looking at it from your point of view, from house training. How the national boys going to come back? Have we got any issues with the testing? What team do I pick? The right tactics, lead up to the game, short, medium, and long term sort of views on the game. But it's always, because as I've just said to Rich, I think you're not surprised at my views on it. the game is always with you wherever you are, and obviously this week has been quite explosive in terms of the sort of the things that have come out, and obviously a lot of talking points in there. But as I keep saying, the supporters are the stakeholders. They're the biggest group of people that should be consulted regarding it, and obviously, you know, the people in the game, and you look back and you look at it, and you know, you look at a couple of clubs that have been mentioned, and you talk about the spirit of Shankly and from one club, and then you talk about another club that was managed by the most successful manager in English football, in my opinion. And I'm sure, even though they were humble, they were humble, down to earth, traditionalist football guys, but they had modern methods, modern thinking, and I'm sure a penny for their thoughts. Obviously, Bill Shankly, without going too deep into it, and Sir Alex Ferguson, a penny for their thoughts, what they'd be thinking about what's going off now in English football and the proposed changes. So it's a very, very delicate situation, and one that has to be handled in the correct way. And I'm sure, because there's that many good people in the game, that you know, the problems or the situations that need to be sorted out will get sorted out, and we'll come to a better place that the unique game deserves, which I've said, as I said before to Rich, a unique game that doesn't need too much tampering with.
On preparations then for Fulham and the return of those international players, would you say you were hopeful, confident that those that are injured will be available to you?
As always, Andy, I'll give them to the last minute. They're all important members of the squad, and so we'll make decisions over the next 24, 48 hours. So give everybody the opportunity to put their hands up and be available for selection. And if they're not, then you know, we'll pick a side that hopefully goes well on Sunday.
How's Rhian Brewster settled in and been integrated over the course of this international break?
Yeah, been fabulous. Breath of fresh air. Delighted to get him through the door, and he's given us a spark. The training has been really good. It's been lively and been bright, and as I've said, the attitude of the players dictates that. So you know, it is a positive environment. It's not a time to feel sorry for ourselves. You know, we've picked up a few injuries that have hurt us, and as I've always said, you know, injuries and bounce of the ball, you know, need to go our way or even themselves out, and I'm sure they will do. But it's a tough time at the moment. But we all dig in. We're tough people, as I keep saying, and we look forward to the next game. But Rhian's been good. Obviously, decision whether to start him or not is a big one, because of his condition that he came to us in. Obviously, not played a lot of football and flitted between Liverpool's 23s and first team, and you do find at times when they do get caught up in between, the conditioning of the players is not really where you want it to be. So he's been working extremely hard, but undoubted natural talent, and give everybody a boost in around the place.
As you look to try and build a team then capable of beating Fulham then this weekend, what's been the key sort of priorities over the international break in I don't know, for want of a better description, getting Sheffield United's mojo back?
Well, I don't see a team feeling sorry for itself, Andy. I don't. In the games, it was a slight period just after Arsenal scored the second for 10 minutes. But in all the other four games, I've not really seen a team that's really got the white flag up and felt sorry for themselves. We need to up our standards. It's difficult, obviously, when there's 9 or 10 players away to do anything in terms of, from a tactical point of view, to work on things when, you know, the majority of those players that are away are going to be in your first team. But players have worked individually. Players have worked on certain aspects of the game from a conditioning point of view, from an S&C point of view, getting up to speed and doing more work, working on their individual skills as well. But generally, you know, having the time, the boys have not had much time off. Usually they have a little bit more time away, but we've been in quite a lot. So worked extremely hard individually and units. But as you can obviously imagine, with so many players being away, with Ramsdale, Egan, Stevens, Berg, you know, McBurney, McGoldrick, or Flecky, all those players being away, it's really been, well, it's been impossible. We haven't done any work in terms of unit work, really, to involve those players.
Fulham then next as the challenge. What's your assessment of what they've done so far upon their return to the Premier League?
Well, a team, as I've talked about, that's sort of been in and out of the Premier League for the last 2 or 3 years, but previous to that, being an established Premier League club, a lot of good players, kept the majority of their players that were in the Premier League, added to them. Had a good group before that. You know, we played against them twice when they got promoted in the playoffs, our first season back in the Championship, and an incredible game at Bramall Lane. And a pretty comfortable one for them down at Craven Cottage in the second part of the season. But you know, like, I should imagine that I'm not going to write us off at this early stage, and I don't think anybody should be wrote off as well at this early stage. Not the start that Scott and his team would have wanted, of course. Not the start that myself and my team would have wanted. But you know, there's plenty of games to play, and they've got a manager who's hugely successful last season, and a lot of very, very talented players, and they'll be looking for their first result of the season just as much as we are. But you know, said it. They'll have that siege mentality that possibly is coming into play at Sheffield United, or might have been in play for a little bit longer than I've just said. Where, you know, people have an opinion on them, and my opinion on them is that they've got a lot of very good players, that are international players, that players have played in the Premier League, that have come for quite a lot of money, that have got a decent pedigree. And Scott is a hugely enthusiastic, committed, intelligent football man that will want to take this opportunity with a club that's close to him, and be a success as he was in his first season as managing the Championship.
Just finally from me, when we spoke after the match at Arsenal, there was the might you not look to try and add a centre half. As we speak now at 9:20 in the morning, is that at all a possibility?
No, the players are in the building, are the ones that we're going to go with. So that's the players that will take us through to January.
All right. So, thanks very much. Best of luck.
Cheers, Andy.
Start.
Morning, Chris. Andy from PLP.
Hey, morning, Andy.
I don't want to obviously dwell on a difficult start. Everyone talks about the winless start. What do you think Sheffield United have been missing so far?
Well, you've seen the team as I have. Obviously, results affect a touch of belief and a touch of confidence. So you've just seen, you saw Villa. Obviously they finished last year, and they added some fantastic players in the summer. Get off to a winning start, and you see the team grow and build up confidence as we did last year. So we're looking for that first point. We're looking for that first result to give us a little bit more belief and confidence in our play.
Just on the Arsenal game, were there glimpses for you of the Sheffield United of kind of last season coming back into play?
It's been glimpses, and more than glimpses, right the way through the 4 games, in my opinion.
And as we go into, obviously, a huge game, as we say, about Fulham, you mentioned Scott Parker. It's an entirely different recruitment process they've been through this time as opposed to last time they were in the Premier League. You talk about what sort of manager he is, but you can't help but admire the way he's doing it this time at Fulham compared to last time, I suppose.
Well, he's gone in his own way, as managers should always do, go their own way. They should be the biggest drivers of who comes into the football club and who leaves the football club. And as soon as that happens, then really there's no use of manager being there, in my opinion. So, Scott's had his finger on the pulse and obviously come up with the results that everybody's seen. And, he should take a lot of credit for that. But I've got to say, they had, some really good players before Scott was there as well, and he's brought them together, put them in a system or different way of playing, changed systems as well, so they're flexible, and want to play as the manager wants them to set up, and that's always got to be the biggest thing, in my opinion.
From what you've seen of them so far, are there definite signs that they are quickly adapting to the Premier League? I know they were given a bit of a lesson against Arsenal.
I'll let Scott answer that question, not Chris Wilder at Sheffield United.
No problem. Cheers, Chris. Best of luck with the weekend.
Cheers.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, Moose.
How are you?
I'm all right, mate. You?
Yeah, you just to pick up on what you've been saying about, you should be able to pick the team, you should be able to pick the players. I felt actually that Scott it was interesting what happened after the defeat to Villa when the director of football weighed in at Fulham saying that they needed centre halves. So it seemed to be almost going against that.
Well, owners, as I said, I've always been a big one that, that the supporters are the heartbeat of the football club. The owners are the custodians and look after it in their own way. So I've that's always been my stance on it. And I think Scott answered it absolutely perfectly. It's obviously a difficult situation that he's put in, but every owner has the right to speak up because of the investment that he puts into the football club. But I think all the best football clubs are run by the owners that let the manager get on with the job of coaching, of recruitment, of deciding what direction they want the club to go in, and all the trust 100% should go into the manager at all times, in my opinion. But it sometimes doesn't work that way, and sometimes there are different models as well, which you have to respect at times.
Someone asked you pre-season about second season syndrome. I'm not suggesting after 3 or 4 games that's what. But I'm just saying, are you finding it a lot more difficult this year because people do know what you're all about?
I don't go along with that, Ian, in terms of people don't know what we're all about. I'm sure that everybody knew what we were about last year. The Premier League is not that insular. They know what we did in the Championship and how we played and what happened when we were going into it. The video analysis in the game now is absolutely huge, is important. I think, to get a result, a lot of things have got to go your way, especially when they're Sheffield United. And obviously we've talked about the crowd involvement. We've talked about Bramall Lane as a home for us and the advantage that gave us. We talked about a team that had momentum, a team that stayed clear of injuries as well. And obviously a bounce of a ball and a couple of decent refereeing decisions that don't affect the game, which obviously have affected the games over the last 4. So you have to have a lot of things go your own way. The big clubs can afford a little bit more things to go against them because of the quality that they've got. Fortunately, we're playing catch up, as I've said. I think I've talked about Fulham. I think there was a start. 13 out of the last 18 seasons they've been in the Premier League, so they've built up that number, as well as investment from outside. So, our football club is a unique football club that's been out of obviously the top tier for 10 years and been languishing in League One for 6. So, to build that one up at the pace that we've done, we'll never turn that down. But, we have to have players playing at the top of the game. And at the moment, we're just a little bit off that, but they've shown that they can do. And as I've just answered the question there, the goal at Bournemouth last year just gave us a little bit more belief. The result against Palace in the second game gave us a little bit more belief. A late equaliser at Chelsea gave us a little bit more belief and confidence. And that's what we're looking. But looking for as a group, but we've got to go and earn that. We're not looking for it to be given. I'm not looking for things to go against us. I like for us to play off of a level playing field, of course. And one of the big things is that we have been slightly unfortunate with injuries. None of these have been conditioning injuries. They've all been contact injuries, which has hurt us a little bit. Mousset and O'Connell and a couple of other boys. So hopefully we'll get those boys back fit. But beliefs in the group is big, and you never know when that first result comes that kickstarts your season, and that's we're always thinking that the next game is the game that will happen.
You asked about injuries and possible problems regarding coronavirus at the top. I know it affected Republic of Ireland quite a bit during the international break, and I know what you said about international football, but during this difficult, unprecedented, dangerous time, is it really sensible to have players flying around Europe and flying around the world? I mean, could we not, as a club manager, do you not think international football should just be, for a while, eased off?
I have that view, if I'm honest. I think international football is always going to be there, and I think the situation at the moment is pretty difficult for everybody. 1.5 metre distancing in one country to 2 metres in another country, boys flying about all over the place, no crowds. I'm sure that the international scene and the FAs of certain countries will survive through this financially. It has been really difficult. You've looked. I think every manager that gets affected by international call-ups would have said that it was far from acceptable or comfortable of what's happened since we've come back. Players straight away after, what was it, a game or two that they were away straight away on international duty, and the breaks. So these, every pre-season, all the sort of pre-season plans were always going to be different, but they were certainly more difficult when your players and obviously in the Premier League, and for us, 7, 8 and 9 flying about all over the place makes it, extremely difficult to do any preparation, and obviously the factor with the COVID as well. So I'm sure that every Premier League manager could have done without these breaks so far, and but unfortunately for us, they're in, and we have to abide by it, and we have to get on with it, and get over the hurdle that's in front of us.
A couple more quickly. First of all, Project Big Picture got kicked into touch almost before it had been thrown onto the pitch. Were you disappointed that Liverpool and Man United were ahead of this? Sort of seemed to go on their own as a football man and as a manager.
I'm just disappointed. The timing is not great. I've gone, as I said, I've gone on record and talked openly about looking after the unique situation that we have in our country, and whether it's from a financial point of view, whether it's from a B team. It's not Spain, it's not France, it's England. We're proud of what we do. We're proud of what we've achieved. We're proud of our football clubs. As I've said about that story there about the boy, who I'm thinking should be a Man City fan, works where he works, but he's not. He's a Mac Town fan. And then Robbie going in and helping them out, and that just shows you what the game's all about. So we have to protect and look after it. But I think a lot of football people, if not all of them, and the vast majority of football supporters have seen right through it and really see it for exactly what it is. That isn't me saying that we need to improve the game and always move the game forward and look after the smaller clubs and make sure that the wealth gets distributed a little bit better. But there always has to be this competition. As I said about Bill Shankly, Liverpool were in the second division when he took over. Manchester United have been in the second division. Manchester City have been in the third division. Leeds United have been in the third division. Leicester City have been down there. There's a whole host of examples. We can't take that away from the game, and we can't take the ambition and the opportunity of getting better and not being a closed shop. And I think the majority of people have seen right through it. And and I'm sure that the changes will happen for the benefit of the football game as a whole, and we can still have the excitement at every level, which is there for everybody to see, and obviously unbelievably missed by the majority at this difficult time.
Finally, last time I mentioned the fans, your nan got a mention, so I hope she's fine. Arsene Wenger drew a crowd this week at the London Palladium, which I'm sure you would have seen. And now it's due to be discussed in Parliament on the 9th of November, getting fans back in, this petition people have been signing. So, you hopeful?
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it. I can go and watch a non-league game up the road, and there's 300 people there, but I can't go and watch Ethan Ampadu at Wembley in front of with 100,000 seats, and I can't get a seat for it. It's more questions than answers, mate. More questions than answers.
Brilliant. Take care, Chris.
Take care, mate. Cheers.
Right, chaps, well, embargo is next up until